Hi, this is David Fury, the writer of Real Me.
And this is David Grossman, the director of Real Me.
This opening is part of our plan for this season to have Buffy expand her talents as a slayer, that she is moving into a more spiritual place and is therefore going to be changing her fighting style somewhat. So the intent of this opening scene was to show her getting more into her head and drawing on powers she didn't know she had.
And we shot a lot of this scene off speed, so although it appears to be moving in real time, it's not, and it's to give you the sense of the grace and the power of what she is experiencing and heading towards as she expands as a slayer.
Of the big window behind her, I just lit up the room. So often our rooms are a little bit dark. We don't know where the light's coming from. And you said you used a technocrane. All of
Right.
that?
This whole scene was shot with in a small room, and we used this our technocrane, which is a piece of equipment which is where the camera is able to extend and retract.
Were the cameraman operating it remotely, or
From, yeah,
and that's
remote.
because he couldn't do it manually?
Well,
or-
that way we were able to have the camera from the back. We could track into her, and not you'd see the track otherwise if
Oh,
we
I
did it
see.
on track traditionally. So this way we were able to, in a small room where we couldn't swing the arm, we were able to just basically telescope towards her. And while we were there, we just continued to shoot the scene with it, which worked to our advantage.
So this is the episode that really introduces Dawn to the series. And we'd said it a long time ago that probably Joss decided that we'd be telling it, it would be Dawn writing in her diary.
Yeah, it was interesting to me because I really had I, like the rest of the world, had seen her in the finale appear, but I really knew nothing about her, so it was fun to discover her along with the audience, and I think that helps in the shooting and the working of the performance, because I'm not encumbered with knowing the future story, so it all unfolds without tipping your hand to anything, which is just the beauty of this series.
Right. Here we see the workings of the Summers household. Three of them, kind of almost a ballet of getting their breakfasts ready, and Joyce getting ready for work, and they're all into their routines. Right away we're seeing that Dawn is very much a part of the household.
And a burr.
And a burr.
And a burr.
Yeah.
Three women
As she
and a
takes
lot
the
of
last
paper
of the milk.
products get used in that house, I'm sure.
Yes. Yeah, but they do recycle, so it's important to know that. All of you kids out there, recycle. It's recycling's cool. And right, so as I was writing this, the really important thing was to see how each character relates to Dawn, how everybody responds to her, and because they all know her, they all have a history with her, even though we as an audience knew that she'd never existed before. So first we're dealing with, we saw Buffy deal with Dawn in the teaser. We're seeing how Joyce deals with Dawn and how she deals with Buffy's relationship to Dawn, as a mother would. And soon Riley will enter, and we'll see that relationship.
And we hear Dawn's thoughts on the whole as a younger sister. wood, I suppose.
That was the idea. We, and I've mentioned this before, that Dawn was originally envisioned as a younger character. She was going to be somewhere in the vicinity of 12. So it was when Michelle came in and read that we just decided, well, I should say Marty and Joss decided, we found our Dawn, and she's not 12, actually. She is going to be older. Dawn's disgust at the Buffy-Riley relationship, as some of the fans were disgusted by it, those who worship the Buffy and angel mythology. Yeah. So part of writing it, when I was writing Dawn's voice, I think the 12-year-old was sneaking in there a little bit too much. Sometimes she was a little bit too young sounding. And I think it's because I was having trouble shaking that, my original impression of her being a little bit more of a kid.
But I don't think that's a bad thing. It's just because we're getting to know her. I don't necessarily.
Well, I think
people
ultimately,
are focusing on the age as much as the relationship.
yeah, I was probably my own obsessiveness with it, because ultimately Dawn, interestingly, is just about at the age Buffy was when she was called to be a Slayer. So she should be just as sophisticated, really. And that's where we were in that kind of area of, gee, how young do you play her? Do you play her as Buffy was when the first season, virtually, or do you play her a little bit younger so that you can get a little bit more of a dynamic between them, a difference?
Again, the annoying sister.
The Burr. That's a better title for this. Now I've decided we're going to call this the Burr.
The Burr. I think this was the first scenes that we shot with her.
The diary scenes.
The diary scenes, which were an interesting way to begin. And I think for Michelle, I would think it would be helpful to begin to figure out this character. It was. It's always a little. Well, I don't know if nerve-wracking is the word, but you're a little anxious the first time I think you introduce somebody.
Right.
And
Right.
And
you're trying to lock in as quick as an actor.
Right, and you're trying to. I'm sure as a director and the writer and the creator, you're trying to get what's in your head out on its feet and actually hear it and see it for the first time and find those little nuances and quickly.
Well, and you did. I mean, all those little. I mean, Michelle has some wonderful expressions, and she really listens to the other actors. And I mean, that's what makes a good actress. Giles' car here that was something I kind of said. We decided, what was Giles' car going to be looking like after his last car was smashed up by Spike, and it seemed, since he was in a midlife crisis sort of place, it seemed right to give him a little red sports car.
But not a new little red sports car,
New
just
little,
one within his means.
Right, exactly. And now we see the Dawn. Willow, the favored aunts, basically. Tara's still
one of my favorite little bits of humor in the whole piece.
Tara, there's a nice little scene coming up between the two of them, because ultimately they are the outsiders to the Scooby Gang, and that's where their bonding comes along. And as they're both brought in little by little over the season and beyond, they grow very close. There's the walk and talk. Those are always tough on this show, isn't it? The walk and talks.
The walk and talks.
Because we always have so little space to use. Everyone has to kind of walk. I remember Tony, they were having a problem. They were all kind of getting bollocksed up a bit because Tony's standing right. He'd have to walk very, very slowly.
Very unnaturally slow, yet look naturally alive.
Look like they're getting to where they're going.
Yeah.
Tara over Willow's shoulder there.
Yeah.
Saying that's great.
And this is we introduced the magic box here.
That's true. This new magic shop.
A lot of information. We see the capitalist side of Giles. Years of toiling as a watcher.
Well, we spent all of the prior season with Giles out of work and not really knowing what his place was in Sunnydale anymore. Still wanting to be an advisor and watcher to Buffy, but in an unofficial capacity, and he was feeling a little bit lost. So,
Yet able to get a loan, and
well, we decided that Giles actually has money. He's been published. He's written some books. He's written some books and been published. He's very secretive about it, but somewhere he's got a little stash. Oops. The dead shop owner, Mr. Bogarty, which, as some fans pointed out or picked up on, there was another shop owner who was killed, and or there was a controversy as to whether he died or not, and they called him the Boogity Boogity shopkeeper. And so, as a little homage to the fans, I named him Mr. Bogarty.
Mr. Bogarty.
So I think some people picked up on that. I almost made him Mr. Boogity, but I went, that's a little bit too much. That's a beautiful. I love that through the blinds. That's great.
Can't loiter.
And this is this is our first time that we think that something's not right.
Right. It's the first time that we've called attention to it. We've been playing Dawn as like, well, this is all normal. Nothing's strange here. Dawn's always been here, and this is the first time that we.
That it could or could not be an illusion, or
right. That there is something.
And there's something odd about this guy.
Yeah, I liked it. His look was great. He's not dressed like a homeless man. He's dressed like some guy who just walked out of his office one day and he's just been living.
And just walked out away from the world.
Here's that scene I was referencing.
Yes.
Tara looking for Dawn. And the two of them finding each other. And that's the one where they eventually thumb wrestle, I believe. I think
They thumb wrestle.
Yeah, I forgot. They put a little bonding thing. I wrote this little bonding scene between them, but it seemed like the little icing on the cake was them. Was there? You want to thumb wrestle? Sure.
Thumb wrestling in a nice tableau. But it is true how Tara is the one that comes looking for her.
Mm-hmm.
Like the good aunt, the one you can talk to.
Right. The one, and also the one who's still not part of the family. It's almost a stepmom sort of thing too.
Right.
Yeah. There they go. And whereas she's taking a little special care. Buffy may not be taking as much notice of her little sister, which is typical of older sisters. Yes, here's where Giles realizes
There's money.
The magic shop is a cash cow. Although the life expectancy of shopkeepers is very short.
I think the great thing is people probably think we're listening to this.
Yes.
And we're just watching pictures.
We're just watching the picture
sound.
and trying to remember.
And trying to remember.
What is he saying
with our
now?
addled minds. And then the scary thing is you actually do remember what he's saying. And
Well, that's a testament, I'd like to think, to good storytelling on both our parts. The pictures are telling the story, and I'm going, yes.
yeah, let me pat your back.
It makes sense. All right, this is where he notices
Hello.
Something's missing.
something's missing.
What'd they
A
take?
unicorn.
Oh, yes. Of course.
A unicorn, a ceramic unicorn. Who would want something as cheesy as that? And for those people who've been paying attention in our series would know that there's a character who has posters of unicorns. It's Harmony.
Okay. Hi.
I remember we hit upon this idea. Joss hit upon. We were trying to figure out who was going to be the big bad of this episode.
Mm-hmm.
And we're at lunch, and he suddenly said, "What if it's harmony?" And it just everything clicked at that point. We just went, "Of course."
Now, how many did you get bit in the finale of the
She
previous
got bit in the
season?
graduation. day.
Graduation,
That
that's
was
what
the
I
finale
thought.
from 2 years earlier, from
That's
the end
what
of
I
3.
thought.
But we used her in a few episodes during
Yeah.
several handful of episodes.
She's favorite, our favorite gang.
Yes, including that is Tom Lank there,
Is that?
who plays Andrew, the 3 nerds on our.
Oh, that's right. That is completely right. And
that was Tom's first.
the girl named Peaches.
That's right.
It's so funny. You work with people, and then you see them out of their makeup, and you don't recognize them. And it happens all the time. You'd spend weeks with people, and then someone comes up to you, and you realize you've been dealing with.
Right. Well, you didn't work with the nerds this season, did you?
No, I didn't work with the nerds. I was nerd free.
And when I was writing her, there was a little bit of we never quite knew what to do with Harmony. What does that mean if she's a boss, and how would she deal with her minions?
Right.
And I finally hit upon it while I was writing the script that she's the president of the prom committee.
Always.
And, always. And that is exactly how she deals with her people. I'm head of the prom committee, and everything is really good, and let's all give ourselves a big hand. And that was the key to writing her. And once I had that, I was able to have a great time writing her in this episode. And I got to write her a couple more times in a couple other episodes, and an Angel episode.
I always like this scene between the two of them.
Yeah, it's beautiful. This with the mirror here. That was great. Great show.
It's so, they work so well together. You know, such a nice scene. Just one of those real moments.
All right, and here's where we discover Dawn has a crush on Uncle Xander.
And who wouldn't?
Who wouldn't? Is right.
Check this out.
No, certainly. I mean, if you're that age and this really sweet, funny guy, absolutely, it made total sense.
Mm-hmm.
She eventually lost that crush, which is all very sad, but that's typical of
Mm-hmm.
of a young girl. She developed a crush on Spike after that, and then they're all very fickle. But of course, the fly in the ointment for Dawn is Anya,
I don't know his name.
who she doesn't really like.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much because she's in the way. Emma,
I love Emma.
always funny. One day someone's going to put her in a sitcom. I believe this was an added scene, I recall.
Yeah, this was added. This was an added.
Yeah, and I remember what this was about. I think, well, one reason I think the episode came in a little short, but also we were setting up something in terms of Tara and her relationship to the Scoobies. Like, why is she an outsider kind of thing? And
Yeah, I think that's what happened. We did the cut, and then we looked at it and thought, "There's something missing."
yeah.
There's a.
Yeah, and it's always fortunate when the episode comes in a little short, and you go, you know what? The reason it's short, there's a scene that's really needed here, and this is a lovely scene between the two of them. And again, it was like, how do you convey that something's wrong? That Tara, something's wrong with Tara here. That the reason she feels she doesn't fit in, without making it explicit, because
Right.
Willow can't pick up on it.
Right.
So we did that with a look when Willow says something effective. You're one of the good guys. It's a sweet moment. Here, nice close up. You're one of the good guys, and then suddenly her face there. There, and everybody speculating. What does that mean?
Yes.
She's a bad guy. She's a demon. And that's something that's explained later in I think episode 6. Family is what it's all about. Joss's episode.
Buffy's moved out?
So then my mom
That's the dorm room.
It's the
That's,
dorm room, yeah.
yeah, that's their dorm. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
haven't. They were never roommates.
Yeah.
stuff that might have
Oh wait, were they roommates?
but
I don't remember anymore.
Complaining about the sister.
Oh yeah. Oh, actually, you know what? I have to say, I think Marty took a pass on this scene. A lot of this was at a point where I was still, I was a little bit struggling with some of the more relationship, boyfriend girlfriend stuff, and which Marty is so adept at. And I think she actually did much of the writing in this scene. I have very little to say about it because I can't remember what
I
it
don't
was.
either. I just remember it's, you know, Friday night in the graveyard.
Yeah, again, it's all setting up things to come, basically.
Right.
Or their conflicts, her conflict with Dawn and Riley wondering,
Where he stands and all this.
right.
really get
Things that mirror each other.
waited on.
Hand and foot, getting
Ah.
your own way.
Something I wrote.
Your mom loves you both equally.
Okay.
If I'm wrong,
Ice cream. Games.
Yes.
Those
More fun.
pink. This was the pink.
Yes, this is pink. Well, you know what? Again, I think that joke. I had a similar joke, but I think the actual joke that landed was something that Jane Espenson had come up with. Oh, that's beautiful. Love that shot.
With the drippy ice cream.
Now I'm burdened with a husband.
She wants to trade in. She wants to train her children for more, or something like that.
Yes.
That's. Yeah, I think Jane. That was Jane's joke.
Really?
yes, cash equals.
Yeah, this is Anya. I think this might even be where Anya's really learning capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
And we ran with this. This became so much of a character trait of hers after this.
Yeah, for going in and then taking over the.
Yeah, suddenly she begins to understand money, and money becomes very important to her.
Right. I love this. That the Harmony Gang is just.
Yes, they're coming and die. I thought it was supposed to be a heart. I figured it was a happy face.
Yeah,
a little heart over the eye.
You know, I don't
Maybe that
remember,
was
but
too much.
I just remember it was so.
I know.
It was so
It's Harmony Gang. Like she's calling, okay, come on out. Mercedes is lovely.
Yes.
She's great. She's great in
It's
this role.
perfect.
This
Sorry,
is-
she missed
yeah.
your call.
And I thought Nick was so good here, and
They're my minions.
Yeah.
just
What now?
Yeah, he's looking great too.
he was so funny. Just
I love his-
just when we were shooting it, we were laughing all the time. Just the way he would insult these people.
Now I remember when I was one of the things when I was writing this, we had to figure out Dawn needed to do something wrong to make her responsible for something for Buffy to get angry at later.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't know what that was until we were talking about it. I was talking about it with Joss and said, what if she inadvertently invites Harmony into the house? Because that's about the worst thing they do with the vampires, invite them in.
Yeah, we were originally going to put a piece of glass here so she would hit it so she
That's
could really
right.
get a better step to, with her lipstick.
That's right, it would have left a smear of
Left a
lipstick.
smear.
That's right.
So,
And her makeup would all come off on the glass. That's
Yeah.
right. But that would have.
this part here, yes,
Right.
very funny.
And we were making Harmony. We want to actually have Harmony be a little bit more of a threat. We haven't shown her being a
Right.
real scary threat. Or,
Right, you'd always think she's just a bit of
Yeah. So just like Buffy is kind of growing in her Slayerhood, we were kind of having Harmony has grown a little bit in her vampirism
yeah.
and is becoming a little bit more formidable a fighter, a little bit more of a danger.
And I think this is a trait of Dawn's where she does things not realizing the impact of what she says
Right.
or things she does.
Everybody's miming that they can't get to the door.
No, that was real. They really can't get in the door.
Harmony was cool. I love that shot, and all of them just getting
All
thrown
of them
back.
flying backwards.
It's funny. It's great using the windows and the door. It's great. These are things that I don't think about when I'm writing, and because I don't picture the door. I didn't remember those windows, so you find them. It's like when you find them in there, that's great. That's the fun thing you get to do. Right?
Yeah.
This is something Sarah hates to do. Sarah hates to laugh
And Ruffles
in a scene.
In a
She can
scene.
do anything. There's anything. Well, she loves to laugh.
She loves to laugh.
Yes, she loves to laugh. But in a scene, she can do anything, and she'll give you 1,000% of any emotion. But laughing is just really hard. It's hard to do. It's hard to seem spontaneous and real. And yet, I make her laugh in almost every episode I write. I don't know what it is. It's some perverse thing. Here's where she finds out Dawn made the big boo-boo.
Made the big
And
boo-boo.
gets furious.
Here they come.
All right, this is Harmony and Spike. Yeah, I have very little Spike in this episode.
Right.
But, any chance to use James?
Go back later. No.
Happy, but this is a great scene, I think. The two ex-lovers running into each other, the awkwardness.
My stomach.
Tom's very cool as a vampire.
Yeah. James is the best. He's just...
He's magic. He's magic in that role. There's just a perfect marriage.
Yeah, these two are quite wonderful together. I just love her thought process.
I miss her. I miss writing for her. I hope you bring her back again.
Just got a brand new telly in my cribs.
Some of us are thinking.
She's got her own gang now.
Yeah, this is where I might have overhit the use of the words "real me," which was the idea of the episode, is everybody sort of finding themselves, or most specifically Dawn and Harmony. So they both used the term "real me," which might have been overstating it a bit. But sometimes you have to do that, or people won't pick up on it.
Right.
Let me guess. Bait lead her into a
Spike gave her the idea to steal Dawn. That's right.
20 minutes ago.
It's like, what are you going to do? Kidnap one of her friends? And
Yes, because she had the best plan ever.
that's
no one
right.
ever thought
That's
of.
right. She had.
Probably still has the stuff from last week.
Now we're going to hunt down the gang.
Knowing all the rules.
It's all related to Buffy's anger at Dawn and everyone thinking she's overreacting. Which
Harmony over even when she was alive.
your friends normally do when you get mad at a sibling. They go, just
Your mom
lighten
did.
up.
She invited in the masked Dracula.
People never quite understand the conflicts, particularly since all these other characters are only children. Interestingly enough, including
She was
Buffy.
lonely
So
and-
she's the only one with a sibling.
And she didn't know. No.
That's right. This is leading to the first in a long tradition of Dawn running away from home and getting
Get us all killed.
captured by the bad guy. This was the first.
Oh, this is right.
She actually doesn't get out the door, or she barely gets out the door.
She barely gets out the door, I think, because
Right.
Anya's downstairs.
That's right. Harmony and Harmony's gang's waiting.
I can't be there to protect her.
But that became quite a typical thing that we. The stories always lent themselves to Dawn getting herself in trouble.
Back inside the
We shot this in 2 different places.
That's right. Now that's
There's a set,
that's an
and then we shot it on the real location. which is-
Real- oh,
the real-
wow.
that's the real house, and she ran out in the real house, and then
Wow.
we came back and shot pieces on the stage.
So the door actually matches.
Everything, yes. It
Wow.
actually.
that
Well,
look-
there's little mismatches for those who really want to
Well, see, that's the kind of thing people
stop
want to hear
their
about.
DVD and look at it.
Okay, freeze frame that DVD. And
It's
look
like,
for those
where's,
differences.
so where's Waldo?
Buffy's learned that Harmony's boys have taken Dawn,
All right.
and all her anger goes away, and now it's replaced with fear.
Really
The prom queen. Very Everyone's ready to kill Dawn and eat her, and she's trying to make the plan clear that no, we don't eat the hostage.
Do I have to go over the
Then
plan
we
again?
don't have anything to bargain with.
We
And you're
used
like,
the
well,
sister as bait.
the Slayer doesn't know we've eaten her. We can just pretend we still have her.
No.
Harmony just doesn't grasp that. She wants to play by the rules. She wants to do it exactly right. She's the boss.
She comes. We jump.
He likes the telly. We've done a lot of telly jokes. Spike watching him.
Where is she?
Spike's old crypt, which is
Oh yeah, that's not the same crypt, is it?
No, it's a little. It was always a little cramped. Ow, ouch! That one hurt. A little cramped
Oh yeah.
to film in.
Well, we gave him a much bigger crypt later on.
I'm the one who.
And here's the two women in the show who
With the
think that
same
no one
basic
underst-
problems.
Yeah, no one understands them.
They have
No one respects them. No one takes them seriously.
to make all the.
And the mutiny begins.
Or Dawn had to do the scene with her arms up in the air like
That's
that.
true. That must be really uncomfortable. Soon to be reborn as Andrew.
Can't say she.
We went handheld here, it looks like, to go a little uneasy.
That's fairly typical, isn't it? For once it's leading into a fight scene like that.
Sometimes you do it just because to make things a little uncomfortable or
Oh, I see.
a little unsteady. At least that's
Uh-huh.
my theory.
When you tried to chair the homecoming
That's a good
committee,
theory.
you.
I'm still learning that stuff myself. And this is a whole new stunt team we have.
Yeah, and there's a whole new way of fighting, which it goes back to the beginning of the picture where she was doing her balancing and concentrating, and it's the beginning of showing a new fight style
Right.
and a new way of dealing with these demons. Less of the I'd say the kung fu kind of martial arts, and more into almost street fighting.
Yeah, and also using a lot of our environment, doing moves
Right.
like that, you know,
Right.
or, even doing this flip. And those. We were kind of looking for something different. Oh, the carousel unicorn, which, as you probably remember, I thought it was going to be a big carousel
Yes,
unicorn.
yes.
I thought it was going to be one of those full-size ones you get on, and then you have the Slayer and her superhuman strength, but that's what we wound up with.
This is what we wound up with.
Which even Sarah kind of goes, I'm using this?
Yes.
No, it works perfectly fine. It's just, I almost imagine Harmony at some point sitting on this unicorn, which would have been very silly if it was that one.
Still argue.
This is going to be a little bit of a covering scene, but I don't think it played out quite the same way. It was sort of, we think Mom is going to be angry. I think when I was writing it, I thought it was going to be something like that. That she wasn't just coming home from work; she was coming in, going, "Where have you been?" Or at least that's what the girls thought she'd be, and then we find out.
Something completely different.
Yeah, but that's the nature of things come out a little bit different, and they work.
But I guess it was pretty okay for not to.
Sometimes they work a lot better than what you imagine.
Okay, and
Officially moving in.
Moving
the
in.
shop.
Drummer. And have you ever?
Which I think made a lot of people very happy. A lot of people very concerned for Giles when he lost his job when the library was blown up, and they were really genuinely worried for him that they wanted him to find something. They worried for his self-esteem, and so when he bought the shop, people were much happier.
You're doing right now? Not moving?
And Dawn gets the last
She
word
still
in
thinks
her
he
diary.
loves nobody.
Foreshadows what we're all going to learn about Dawn in a few episodes later, that she was formed from a mystical key. It's like someday they're going to find out what I really am. Well, that was real me.
That's it.
Thanks for listening. Or watching. You were listening, we were talking.
We were babbling.
Grr, arg.